to the old ring on the table, like it always belonged there, like I knew you'd return. I fold the blanket back to its careful corner, a small square of winter waiting for another year. This is how we leave things unalarmed, lights still warm, doors resting on the latch. Nothing slammed, nothing sworn, just the rooms in my chest, remembering where you sat. Your book stays open, face down on the armrest, a sentence caught mid-breath. I don't need to finish it. I water the plant that leaned toward your side. Its leaves stop shaking once the window settles. There was a time I chased after every closing door, counted the echoes as if they were proof. Now the hallway is only a hallway. I walk its length and meet myself at the end. Coffee gone cold, half-read book, folded page, dust in the gold of the late afternoon haze. Your name on the fridge, crooked note by the light, said you'd be late, you were always half out of sight. Soft echoes in the hallway, your footsteps in my mind. Same for words you always left me, save a little bit of time. Soft echoes in the hallway, fade and then rewind. I live inside the quiet spaces between your scattered signs. Window half closed, street noise under my breath. I hummed a tune you forgot the day you left. Talk to the air like you just stepped away. Set one more plate, then I put the extra away. Soft echoes in the hallway, your footsteps in my mind. Same for words you always left me, save a little bit of time. Soft echoes in the hallway, fade and then rewind. I live inside the quiet spaces between your scattered signs. Click of the heat, faint car doors outside. Little living trivial things keep the room aligned. I almost say your name just to hear falls so gently, it barely leaves my mouth. Soft echoes in the hallway, your footsteps in my mind, saying 4 words you always left me. Save a little bit of time. Soft echoes in the hallway, thinner every night. I stay here with the quiet spaces till they slip out of the light. Street light on the ceiling, curtains breathing in and out. Oh, cup on the table, lipstick ghost along the rim, clock hand dragging circles, blue glow on your shoulder, hair thick like sleeping, thoughts slipping under the door. Cars hum in the distance, shadows stitching up the wall, bare feet on cold tiles, pulse slow as falling dust, window glass half open, night air tasting like rain, your name in a half whisper fades before it reaches you. Phone face down and silent, tiny planets in the dark, heartbeat in the pillows, trembling just out of sync. The room is a soft outline, mug on the desk, a book half open, like it paused mid-thought. The clock is louder than it should be, or maybe I'm just finally quiet enough to hear it. I trace the same sentence again, eyes moving, mind resisting, then giving in. Today feels like it happened on the other side of glass. Mouth moving, my voice on delay. All the comebacks arrive now, perfectly timed, perfectly late, fading as they land. There's a text I haven't answered, a name lighting the screen. I let it go dark, let it be unanswered. A little longer, I think about every version of me, stacked like thin pages, slightly misaligned edges not quite matching. What if this one, the 2 a.m. one, is the truest draft, the one that never gets turned in? The fridge hum, the hallway pipe, all the things I never notice. Take turns stepping forward, then stepping back. Breath slows, thoughts line up, not in order, just less tangled. I realize I'm not fixing anything, just keeping myself company while the day dissolves and the next one hasn't learned my name yet. Cup on the counter, tea gone cold, steam long vanished, ring on the wood. Fridge hum, a clock that clicks twice, then forgets again. Shadows leaning on the wall, street outside empty but not quite. A car turning somewhere, its sound already passed. You breathe like a question, I answer by not moving, eyes fixed on the dark window. Your sweater on the chair, sleeve twisted, like it reached for you and missed. Phone face down, small red light blinking to itself, no one impressed. The plant by the sink, one yellow leaf curling in on itself, slow collapse, quiet grace. I think of the word almost, how it fills a room, then leaves it just as quietly. Lip of the mug against my thumb, dry ceramic, ghost of warmth. Outside a late bus disguised as wind, brakes sighing into static. Your name in my mouth unsaid, just shape and breath pressed between teeth. Silence grows greeny like an old film, frame sticking and sliding free again. Filter lifts a little, air returns, dull silver of the sink catching a line of moon. I stand eventually, chair legs murmur across the floor, a timid confession, cup porcelain knock, small sound, bigger than it should be. Somewhere a dog barks once, decides against a second try. The night accepts and settles around us. Light under the bedroom door, thin and tired, book face down on your side of the bed. I pause in the hallway, bare feet on cold tile, thoughts stacked like unsent letters. No speech is waiting, only this hallway breath, the soft decision to keep the quiet whole. I turn the light off, leave the door as it is, let the dark finish the sentence for me. Cup on the counter, tea gone cold, steam long vanished, ring on the wood. Fridge hum, a clock that clicks twice, then forgets again. Shadows leaning on the wall, street outside, empty but not quite. A car turning somewhere, its sound already passed. You breathe like a question, I answer by not moving. Eyes fixed on the dark window, your sweater on the chair, sleeve twisted, like it reached for you and missed. Phone face down, small red light blinking to itself, no one impressed. The plant by the sink, one yellow leaf curling in on itself, slow collapse, quiet grace. I think of the word almost, how it fills a room, then leaves it just as quietly. Lip of the mug against my thumb, dry ceramic, ghost of warmth outside. A late bus disguised as windbreak, sighing into static. Your name in my mouth, unsaid to shape, and breath pressed between teeth. Silence grows grainy like an old film, frame sticking, then sliding free again. Filter lifts a little air, returns dull silver of the sink, catching the line of moon. I stand eventually, chair legs murmur across the floor. A timid confession, cup in the basin, thin porcelain knock, small sound, bigger than it should be. Somewhere a dog barks once, decides against a second try. The night accepts and settles around us. Light under the bedroom door, thin and tired, book face down on your side of the bed. I pause in the hallway, bare feet on cold tile, thoughts stacked like unsent letters. No speech is waiting, only this hallway breath, the soft decision to keep the quiet whole. I turn the light off, leave the door as it is, let the dark finish the sentence for me. Cup on the counter, tea gone cold, steam long vanished, ring on the wood. Fridge hum, a clock that clicks twice, then forgets again. Shadows leaning on the wall, street outside, empty but not quite. A car turning somewhere, its sound already passed. You breathe like a question. I answer by not moving, eyes fixed on the dark window. Your sweater on the chair, sleeve twisted, like it reached for you and missed. Phone face down, small red light blinking to itself. No one impressed. The plant by the sink, one yellow leaf curling in on itself. Slow collapse, quiet grace. I think of the word almost, how it fills a moment and leaves it just. The hallway hums in daylight, dust hangs undecided. A mug ring on the table, your book face down, abandoned. I stand between two breaths, the taken, the one I still haven't earned. You laugh from the other room, not at me, but not away from me either. Water runs, then stops, a door clicks, not quite closed. I write your name in the steam on the glass, then wipe it flat as if that fixes anything. Time moves in sideways inches, keys on the counter, the scarf on the chair. None of it asks a question, all of it answers one. I think of leaving just to see if missing you feels like this or worse. There's a train in the distance, or maybe I imagine it, because I need something coming or going. Your shadow crosses the doorway, you say my name the way you did before we learned to measure ourselves. I say I'm fine, you nod like you believe it, and sit. Not too close, not far. The light has turned a deeper kind of pale, afternoon slipping out of its own skin. I count the tiles on the ceiling, lose track. At 7, you reach for the book, think better of it. Let your hand rest open on the table, between the rise and fall of this one quiet moment. I almost ask you to stay angry or stay brave, just stay. You arrive like rain after a fever day, cool against the heat I'd learned to hide inside. Your name lands softly in the hollow of my throat, and I breathe it out, tasting rooms I've never seen. You touch the chipped rim of my favorite cup, ask about the crack I always turn away. I say it's nothing, but the truth pulls at the glaze. Somewhere between your quiet nod and mine, something breaks open quietly and stays. Half-open door, street glow on the floorboards, steam on the window, cup ring on the table, clock hand size books lean into each other, your name tucked in a drawer with old receipts, fridge not answer. This chair knows the weight I used to be. I trace the grain until my fingers fade. Some somewhere a train carries strangers through the dark. Here only dust turning in slow circles. You pour the tea, forget the sugar, say my name like it might spill. The window fogs, you draw a circle, erase it twice, start again. You say it's not that deep. You say it's not that deep. Car door, far away, your hand not leaving. You say it's not that deep. You say it's not that deep. The street outside is holding its breath. glow folding into the window glass. Tea gone cold on the bedside book. My pulse quieter than the clock. Curtains barely move in the dark. A car passes, then the air closes. Thoughts arrive like slow birds. Circle once and disappear. Your name drifts through me, light as steam above the cup. I let it float there, not touching, not chasing, only seeing. Skin on cotton, small creases, the room shaped by what is missing. Every object softer at this hour, edges listening. Instead of shouting, I trace the ceiling cracks with my eyes, finding countries that never existed. Breath in 4 counts, out in 6. The night lengthens to fit my lungs. Dust in the beam from the hall. Each mode a tiny planet turning. I could almost hear their orbits if I were just a little more still. Thoughts thin out like low clouds, words slip their meanings and lie down. Only the simple ones remain here. Know this, you. Screen gone dark on the chair. Air cool against my bare wrist. I close my eyes to stay awake inside the hush between heartbeats. Morning in the kitchen light, steam tracing shapes. Your jacket on the chair, keys by the sink. You say you'll call from the road. I nod, stirring the coffee too long, listening to the clock answer for me. Waves on the glass, shadows drift across our table. You move through the room like you're already gone. I'm counting the lines on your hand as you reach for the handle, learning the pattern of how you let go. You smile, that careful curve, practiced for strangers. The folded list in your pocket crinkles when you breathe. I memorize the small things, thread the loose on your sleeve. The way you check the window instead of my face. Waves on the glass, shadows drift across our table. You move through the room like you're already gone. I'm counting the lines on your hand as you reach for the handle, Later in the cooling house, mug ring on the wood, I trace it with my fingertip until it disappears. I roll the morning into a small, quiet square. Steam from my cup drifts into yesterday. Dust hangs patient in a beam of pale light. The chair across from me waits, but does not ask. I touch the table once to prove I am here. The clock moves softly like an animal in sleep. Outside a car passes, half-remembered thunder. My breathing finds the same slow measure again. The room turns cotton at the edges. Colors sink like stones into deep linen. Every thought wears a faded jacket. Even my name sounds far, almost kind. The air clears in a single long inhale. Glass sharpens its outline on the windowsill. I smooth the folded morning with both hands and let it rest exactly where it is. Pour warm water over old leaves. Watch steam draw halos on the kitchen tile. Somewhere a bus sized at a red light. Tiny planets ticking in the radiator. My phone glows face down on the table. Names and numbers sleeping in its glass. I stir the same circle in my cup. Taste the hours stretching pale and slow. A plant leans hard toward a narrow window. Dust dances like it's learning how to fall. I think of you folding a stranger's shirt in a city I only visit in wrong turns. The ceiling cracks sketch unfamiliar rivers. I follow them until they lose their names. The fridge hum slips under my breathing. A quiet argument I never finish. Head against the cool apartment wall, I drift between between two almost dreams. One where I stay to water the silence, one where I leave before the kettle sings. There is a photograph I never took. Your hand gesture, soft and sure. The air around it, yellow and heavy, like pages pressed flat in a borrowed book. Streetlight color seeps around the curtains, finding every chipped edge of the room. My shadow folds itself into the mattress,